let me invite Lucia to give the first presentation. Lucia, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much, Arun, and good evening to all of you from Geneva. Warm regards from Geneva. Let me share my screen, and please let me know if you see it well.
Yeah, the screen is visible, but I don't think that's the main screen. I think it is the slideshow screen.
Maybe I should go like this. Yeah.
Not yet. It's a blank. Yeah, this is perfect. Now it is there. So Lucia, you have 10 minutes, and in 8th minute, I will give you a warning, right? 2 minutes warning.
Thank you so much. So I will try to go fast, but first let me thank you very much, ICIMOD and OXFAM colleagues, for this initiative. And it's really a pleasure to be here and an honor to have the first presentation. So I'll try to give some good insights on the Nexus work done so far under the Water Convention in transboundary contexts. I would start with this very familiar picture because the Nexus is already here, the Agenda 2030 and the SDGs, which are sectoral goals that can only be achieved by being efficient in the way we use resources in each sector, but also by addressing the inevitable trade-offs that exist across different sectors. This is the reason to apply a Nexus approach from the perspective of the UN overall. Then from the Water Convention perspective, there's another reason, which is the fact that these cross-sectoral trade-offs, impacts, and possibly synergies are very common in transboundary contexts, both when where there is cooperation framework in place that allow us to have this type of dialogue and when there isn't. And this is what the Nexus, what the Water Convention does, support transboundary water cooperation with the sound legal framework of reference and institutional framework with different bodies and specific activities and projects on the ground. And the Nexus assessment of transboundary basins is one of them. The Water Convention is global. This means that these projects are implemented in very, very different contexts around the world. This is our vision of the Nexus, and it's, the Water, Food, Energy Ecosystems Nexus. This means that from the start, the Water Convention decided to look at the water, food, and energy sector nexus, security nexus, let's say, but also to look in particular at the health of ecosystems and the capacity of ecosystems to support the services that allow us to thrive. And this means looking not only at direct interlinkages, but also at indirect interlinkages. And these are the most complex, usually. Now, despite the complexity, the concept is quite clear. So the theory is not complex to understand and to grasp, and to some extent is really not even a really new concept. What is interesting is to look at how we translate this concept into practice. And since the beginning, we have some hints. Since the beginning of the conceptualization of the Nexus approach, we have some hints. Investing to sustain ecosystem services, as I said, creating more with less, so the importance of the efficiency in using resources and accelerating access by the poorest. Now, the diversity of context means that we need to take a case-by-case approach when talking about the Nexus and studying it and addressing these interlinkages. And this is what the Water Convention tried to do. From the beginning, the methodology to carry out these basin assessments was developed, and it was highly flexible. It was developed specifically for this project. So far, 4 assessments have been completed and 2 are ongoing. The objective of these assessments is clearly to foster cooperation in transboundary basins by talking about synergies, policy measures and actions, and the optimization of resources. And of course, to do that, we need to look at the resource base, the way the resources that we have, the resources that we use, how we use them, and the governance. So how we govern these resource systems that are interlinked. What's important is that these assessment processes are highly participatory, and this means that they are prepared in close cooperation with national administrations, first of all for capacity building reasons, but also to make sure that we look at the most important things and the most pressing issues. And in fact, the analysis of specific interlinkages is guided by the discussion among stakeholders. So this means that we are not looking at every possible interlinkage, but we're focusing on the linkages that are considered the most important ones. This is what the assessment process looks like. We have analysts on one hand carrying out the studies, and the stakeholders involved and the authorities concerned on the other. They come from different countries and different sectors, of course. They meet in participatory workshops where the issues across sectors are discussed and the potential actions are also discussed. And of course, the transboundary cooperation frameworks, or institutional frameworks in particular, can play a big role in this process, in supporting this process and facilitating it. What the Nexus dialogue helps us to do is to translate the different perspectives of different sectors on the way systems are interlinked into complex storylines. So here we have an example where energy poverty, the issue of energy production, agricultural production, water supply, they're all interlinked into a storyline where forest ecosystems are at the center. And these are the complex interlinkages that I was talking about. This is only possible when you have all stakeholders at the table. So I will give 3 ideas, 3 points for food for thought for the discussion today on what has worked in our assessment so far. The first one is, as I said, a flexible methodology. There was a reason to do that, and it was a diversity of basins. But then there are also many other reasons, and I will just mention 2. One is that there are typically existing frameworks in place, institutional legal frameworks that we should take into account and we should build on when designing the participatory process. And there are also past experiences where authorities and stakeholders have attempted already to coordinate better, and some things have worked and some things have not worked, and we should build on that, of course. Another good reason is that there are often other projects promoting cooperation, maybe at the same scale, maybe at other scales that are interlinked, and there can be synergies. And of course, this can amplify the impact of the assessment. And this leads me to the second point, which is the fact that this Nexus dialogue should be continued over time. And one project that that starts and ends in 1 year has a limited possibility to deliver on impact. So here we have the example of the Western Balkans, where we have worked for a long time with different projects, and this allowed the dialogue to evolve and to go from a more technical discussion on intersectoral issues to really discussion on policy action and political commitment to act upon Nexus issues. And this has also meant that there was an increasing involvement of the energy sector and the financing institutions, for example, in the dialogue, which is usually a very critical aspect that is not so easy to achieve in this type of projects. And the third one I would like to highlight is the importance of identifying and, where possible, quantify the benefits of cooperation. Benefits of cooperation across countries and benefits of cooperation across sectors. Talking about benefits means talking about motivation to take action. So these benefits are typically hidden or unclear, and this really puts the brake to take action. So here you have the framework of reference for benefits of cooperation developed at UNECE, and you have also one example where we looked at the impact of energy strategies, energy efficiency and renewable energy action in a transboundary basin, on the dependency on hydropower in a shared basin. These are the type of information that can really support policy dialogue. Just a few words that beyond the assessment, the Water Convention supports a lot of capacity building initiatives. And in particular, there is a dedicated Nexus task force that meets regularly under the convention. And beyond the assessments and beyond other similar projects carried out by partners.
2 minutes, Lucia.
1 minute, even less, I hope. We promote discussion on Nexus and other important themes like renewable energy, climate, and financing cooperation. Here you have two important publications that I would like you to look up if you're interested. One is the methodology, of course, and the other one is the most recent work we have done, which was a synthesis of experiences in transboundary basins in designing and implementing Nexus solutions and investments. And about this, let me say that we developed a specific questionnaire and a specific framework to analyze responses to the questionnaires. And we would like to disseminate this questionnaire as much as possible. So if there are participants to the webinar who are interested in this questionnaire, please reach out to me. Now in South Asia, we have already talked about the Nexus. Here there is a link to an event that we co-organized again with ICIMOD and OXFAM colleagues, if you're interested to go back to that. And well, by thanking you, I would like to, just as a last piece of information, invite you to the meeting of the parties to the Water Convention, which will happen at the end of September. It's an open event, mostly online, unfortunately. And it will be introduced by a series of side events, and one of them will be on the Nexus. So you can find more information online or by writing to me. Thank you so much, and sorry for taking a couple of minutes more.
No, actually, exactly in time. Thank you, Lucia. Thank you very much. Very informative, I think, about the method and also more about the details that you have gone through in the assessment. I think that's very useful, and also guiding us to some of the publications and the upcoming meeting of parties, I think. So thank you so much.